What's going on, guys? My name is Christopher and welcome to It's Complicated, the show where I talk about and showcase wristwatches. So if you love watches like I do, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and then click the bell for the notification settings and you'll be all set. Today, we're talking fake watches again. This morning, I was checking out Reddit, specifically the Rep Time subreddit, where about 30,000 people go on and immediately get downvoted for posting fake watches. So there was a thread that said, has anybody tried to take like a noob V9 into an authorized dealer and like fool the authorized dealer? And then all the comments like, no, you're a fucking idiot. You can't fucking do that. Their serial numbers, but they're gonna know immediately. These guys are experts. They have watchmakers on site. Maybe you could trick a salesperson if you were just wearing one and said, hey, check it out. And they would just be like, oh, cool, like that looks great, because some of these fakes are so good. But if you try to get a fake watch authenticated at an authorized dealer, you are a fucking moron. So I'm reading the comments and there's some gentleman in there and he's like, people ask me like, how can you spend $400+ on a fake watch? And he was like, and they don't understand the build quality and what a great watch you can get for $400. Like, it's a great watch, yada, yada. So I replied with something I said in another video where I talked about reasons why you shouldn't buy a fake watch. Matter of fact, this video. But I replied to that guy and I said, listen, you should look into getting a Steinhardt Ocean 1. You should look into getting, another homage piece. And I said, for $110 on eBay, there's a watch called De Bert. And they make, or maybe it's called De Beer. I don't know if the T is silent. But anyways, they make a Seamaster Spectre Limited, like an homage piece. It's a sterile dial. I think it looks really cool. It's sapphire glass. It's got the ceramic bezel insert. It has the appropriate GMT bezel for that watch. And it's $110. So for a fourth of the price of one of these high-end fake watches, you could get something like a De Bert and you would get the same build quality and you'd have a nice watch and you could tell people stories about it. Yeah, it's an homage. It looks just like this one watch I admire. I have considered getting one of those De Berts myself just to check it out. Spending $400+ on a counterfeit watch just isn't exactly a smart move. You're not getting this great value because, again, we talked about the De Bert being a fourth of the price and arguably the same build quality. And then I told the guy, do your homework. So he replies and he starts getting real sassy. He's like, I'm well aware of the Steinhardt Ocean 1 and these other homage brands, but I just want to wear a replica. He said one day he wants to get a Datejust with a tapestry dial, and he was talking a little bit about this Datejust, and he said not that he couldn't afford one now, he just can't justify the money now. So I replied back to him, I said, look, your argument makes zero sense. Like, you're like, well, I want this watch, I can afford it, but I'm not buying it, so I'm just gonna wear a replica. I said, why don't you just look into the Seiko 5 Datejust homage? Like, they're around, you can pick one up fairly cheap. It's a cheap watch, looks a lot like a Datejust, and as a bonus, you get the day of the week. And I ended my comment with supporting counterfeiting is no way to get into horology. It's no way to appreciate this hobby. I understand the appreciation these guys have for some of these high-end replicas, but at the end of the day, it's still just a replica. It's still a fake watch. And to a lot of people, it's just a piece of fucking garbage. So he replies back to me again, and he's like, I think you're in the wrong subreddit, buddy. And he says that he wants a Datejust, not a Datejust homage. He wants a Datejust. And then he was like, and don't tell me that the replica isn't a Datejust because I know that. So you want a genuine Datejust. You claim you can afford a genuine Datejust. You haven't bought a genuine Datejust. Instead, you've bought a replica Datejust. Another big thing to mention is he appreciates that the Seiko is a higher quality watch than the replica Datejust that he's wearing, but he doesn't care. He wants it to say Rolex because he has a desire for the brand, or as he said before, the brand spoke to him as a couple other brands did. Yeah, maybe that's because of like brand history, brand recognition. Maybe you want your friends to think that you're wearing a Rolex where you're not wearing a Rolex. I think that's the only real answer here, is that he wants people to think he's wearing a Rolex when he's not. He doesn't want a Seiko. He doesn't want a Steinhardt. He doesn't want any homage. He wants the Rolex, but he doesn't have the Rolex. So fine, you fool some of your friends. This guy's probably real fun at parties. And again, the argument just makes absolute zero sense. If you appreciate horology and you're into the hobby, Supporting counterfeiting is just not the way to go. You know, I've thought about trying to get more fake watches to show you guys on the channel here, maybe take some apart, etc., but I'm not gonna pay for them. Then you got some other asshole on my other video, and he's claiming that people should look into buying a Swiss-made Rolex clone. Not a Swiss-made fake Rolex, a Swiss-made Rolex clone as he sells it. And he claims they're about 900 pound and you can't find them online. I found them online Google searching very easily, and they're about 1,300 bucks. That's even more insane than spending 400 plus on a fake watch. Now people are spending $1,300 on a fake watch. And I guess at the end of the day, yeah, you are saving the money, and some of these high-end fakes are really close, but you are not gonna fool an authorized dealer. You might fool Jim down the street. You might fool someone that has zero experience with Rolex. You could even fool a guy that knows a lot about the brand if it was close enough, because he's not going to ask you to take it apart. He's probably not even going to adjust your crown and see if the hands turn the right way, etc. And that kind of just wraps up my story. I wanted to share that with you guys. But again, buy the Seiko, buy the Steinhardt. Hell, if you have to, buy the fucking Invicta, okay? But don't support counterfeiting, because a lot of people get really burned on these counterfeits. Don't support that business. If you're into horology and you can't afford a Rolex, that's okay. A lot of people can't afford a Rolex. There's a watch that I want to get right now, and guess what? I can't afford it. I'm not going to go buy a fake of it though either. And that wraps up another episode of It's Complicated. Don't forget to subscribe to the show, hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you next time on another episode of It's Complicated.